Hi friends, I'm Becca Werwell, author of the Road Trip Rescue series of contemporary faith-filled adventures for readers ages 8 to 12. And today I'm here to share an excerpt from the audiobook sample for Road Trip Return, which is book 2 in the series. So before we get into the sample, a little about Road Trip Return. It is the story of 12-year-old Daniel. Daniel really likes his life the way it is. But in a week, his big brother Mateo is getting married to Skylar, and that means big changes are coming, and Daniel isn't so sure these changes are for good. Then, a week before the wedding, Skylar disappears, and Daniel realizes that she might be an even bigger threat to his family than he realized. So, he vows to save his family from what he sees as the ultimate disaster, even if that means sabotaging his brother and embarking on an adventure to Guatemala, which is the home of his father and the last country he ever wanted to visit. Road Trip Return will be available on Kickstarter for early orders from April 16th to May 2nd. And as one of the stretch goals on the campaign, which is if we hit a certain level of funding past our initial goal, professional audiobook narrator Talon David will narrate the audiobook for Road Trip Return. She also narrated Road Trip Rescue, and if you've listened to that audiobook, she did a fabulous job. If you haven't listened and want to check it out, it's available on Audible. You can request it through your library. Pretty much wherever you buy audiobooks online, you can find Road Trip Rescue. After you listen to this sample of Talon reading from chapter 4 of Road Trip Return, you'll see why we would love to have her narrate this audiobook as well. So where we're jumping into this sample, like I said, it's chapter 4, and Daniel has already learned that Skylar disappeared, but now he, Kimmy, and Kimmy's parents, and also Mateo, Daniel's brother, they're all searching Skylar's house for clues of where she might have gone, and they discover that they think she might have gone to Guatemala. So that is where this chapter and this excerpt picks up. Let's go ahead and jump right into the reading from Talon.
This isn't a state, I muttered. This must be another country. Kimmy moved closer. What are you? My humming stopped. Oh no. What's wrong? I slammed the cover closed. Sure enough, a traveler's guide to Guatemala. Guatemala, Kimmy said softly. That's where your dad is. I swallowed. Yes, it is. I'd never been to Guatemala, but Mateo was born there. He'd moved to New York City with our parents when he was 10 years old. 8 years later, when he was 18, I was born. Our mom died soon after. Our dad had wanted to return to Guatemala to take care of some things, but that had always sounded like an excuse to leave. He told Mateo to stay with me in New York. Didn't want us to travel with him. Said it was too dangerous. Another excuse to leave us behind. He'd asked a neighbor to look after us and promised to return soon. He never did. That was okay with me. I didn't need him. Hector Reyes was more like a stranger than my father. Mateo raised me. Mateo was always there for me. Mateo was my family. You don't think Aunt Skylar went to Guatemala, do you? Kimmy asked. I mean, why would she go there? I tapped my leg. Pain flashed through my brain. No, that doesn't make sense. But I didn't believe my own words. Skylar always wanted to talk to us about Guatemala and our family history. I'd heard her ask Mateo about inviting Hector to their wedding, but Mateo had told her the truth. We didn't know where to find him, and he'd abandoned us, so we didn't want to. I opened back to the map, then flipped through more pages of the travel guide. Skylar had read this, recently. She'd made notes in the margins with a turquoise pen. She'd highlighted a lot on a page about a town called Panajachel. I'd heard of that town before. Mateo called it Pana. It was his hometown. With every second, I felt more certain. Skylar hadn't just left the town. She'd left the country. I raised my voice. I think we found something. Mateo sprinted into the room, followed by Kimmy's parents. What is it? Mateo asked. Where is she? Mrs. B rubbed her throat. Please tell me she hasn't done anything too impulsive. Kimmy nodded at me. Tell them what you found. My head throbbed. Do you think... I blocked out everyone else and focused on Mateo. Do you think Skylar would have flown to Guatemala? I handed him the book, pointed to the pages with Skylar's notes in the margins, to the places she'd circled and highlighted. Leave it to Skylar to forget her travel guide at home. Mateo sank into a chair at the crowded kitchen table and put his face in his hands. This can't be happening. So you do think she would have gone there? I asked. Without talking to you first? Mateo sagged against the table. Probably. He grimaced. There's something I should tell you. What is it? He paused. Each second made my heart beat faster. A few weeks ago, I got an email from our father, he said. He must have sent the same message to every Mateo Reyes he could find. He's trying to reconnect with me. With us. I rolled my shoulders, waved my arms, and wiggled my knees, like that giant inflatable stick figure that danced outside the car dealership. Why didn't you tell me? I'm sorry, I didn't want you to worry about it. Mateo lifted his hands, then let them fall. Sky wanted me to respond because... It doesn't matter. I never did. He abandoned us. He rubbed his face. But you know Sky, if she got it in her head to try to find him. My face grew hot and sweaty. She didn't get it. This was worse than I thought. Not only had Skylar ran off a week before the wedding, but she did it to find our father, to add another change to our unraveling lives. Did she know this would hurt us? Did she care? Enough was enough. Skylar had disappeared. She had kept a secret from Mateo. She went behind his back to find a man neither of us wanted to see. If she could do all that, what else was she capable of? The reasons not to help Mateo find Skylar list kept growing. Losing Skylar might hurt Mateo now, but marrying her might hurt him forever. I had to keep my brother from making the biggest mistake of his life.
I love listening to Talon's narration. Wasn't that so much fun? I remember when I heard her performance of Road Trip Rescue for the first time, and it was so exciting because for the first time, I felt like I was getting to experience the story almost as a reader or as a listener instead of creating it as the author. So that was so much fun. And I would love to be able to have her record Road Trip Return and to share that with you. So Road Trip Return, like I said, is available on Kickstarter from April 16th to May 2nd. I would love for you to jump in, get connected, join with us in this publishing journey. And if we do hit the stretch goal for the audiobook, not only will Talon record it, but everyone who backed the campaign at the ebook level or above will also get a copy of the audiobook, which is a really great deal. So go ahead and head over there, check it out. Follow the pre-launch page if you're listening to this before the campaign launches on April 16th. And if you're listening to it after May 2nd, missed out on the campaign, don't worry. Road Trip Return will be available on retailers after its official release in September. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you later. Happy reading.